number is 185785. We are going to present about housing market in Malaysia. Okay, first of all, the business or trade cycle relates to the volatility or economic growth and the different period the economy goes through. The factor can be divided by two sides, which is demand side and supply side. For demand side is monetary policy or interest rate, house price will affect consumer or business confidence. Credit cycles, changes in real wages, multiplier, and exchange rate movement. For the supply side is real business cycle theories of technological shocks, changes in rate of productivity, population, and the last is inventory cycles. House price index. House price index is a total that measures changes in single family home price across a designed market. This tool can show areas where home value are increasing or decreasing, so we can estimate the price. It also can help to decide if it's good time to purchase a new home or not. HPI also are often used by economists and financial analysts to monitor long-term trends and gauge what is happening in housing market. For the next slide, I will pass to my friends.
Okay, now it's my turn. My name is Nadia Rashida binti Muhammad Zaini. My register number is 183813. As you can see in the slide, this is the graph house price index from 2002 to 2016. Basically, our study is through 2006 until 2016 only. So that is the index, the house price index in Malaysia. So next, I will talk about factor influencing house price. Actually, there are many other factors that influencing house price in Malaysia. But basically, we only choose these three. This is GDP, gross domestic product, inflation, and interest rate. For GDP, I think everyone know what is GDP. GDP is the indicator that show the our economic growth. So basically, when grow economic for the citizen, there is many job opportunities, so that they can increase our standard living. So our demand for house will increase, and then the price will the price also increase. And then for the when the economic downturn, it will be the vice versa from the growth economic. There will limited job, and then basically our household economic also down, and then the demand for house will decrease. Next, we move to inflation. When inflation occur, the price for other products, maybe more product will increase consequently. So our industry factors, the price for what we call it, house what it for the okay cost for construction industry factor. Cost for construction house will increase from the higher price in higher price for raw material. So developer will increase the price per house. So it will influence the house pricing in Malaysia. Next, we will talk about demographic factor. The main what we call it, factor is population. When population grow, people will tend to buy more house, and then the demand for house will increase, obviously. So that will increase the price for housing too, because of the supply the because the supply was constrained in supply. Next is physical connectivity and internationalization. The improvement of physical connectivity. As example, we can see in Penang there is a World Heritage site, so that the price for house in that area will increase obviously because the on this side the it will be a attraction for the tourists, for the citizen to stay at that place. So the demand for house, for properties in at that place will increase, and then it will obviously increase the price. Okay, the last one is interest rate. As we can see, bank lending may affect the house price through liquidity effect. So it can be determined by discounted expected future stream of cash flow, and then bank will provide lower lending rates and encourage current and future economic activities. So for better availability of credit, uh, will cause the demand for housing increase when the household are borrowing constraint, means when there is a constraint for household to borrow loan, to make a loan. There's a constraint, so the demand for the loan, the demand for the house will decrease as the citizen can't to make loan, so the demand will decrease, and then the price will increase. The price will demand is increase, and then the price will demand decrease. So uh, okay, like that. Okay, so that's all for me, and then I will pass to the next presenter, which is Farah.
Okay, my name is Farah Atika binti Suhaimi. My entry number is 185907. I'm going to continue about the impact of house price. Okay, first impact is inflation. For inflation, we often know that ongoing price increase in the various items. Okay, during inflation, most of the things in the economy will increase their price. The higher the value of money, the higher the housing price, and when increasing in the money supply can cause inflation and house price to increase. Okay, from the graph, we can see that in the middle of 2009, there were negative inflation rate. It was caused from the international financial crisis. The financial crisis and subsequent credit crisis has resulted in a substantial decline in private sector demand. And then from that, we can conclude that household consumption will be declined from several sectors, including the poor job prospect, the housing price, and the rise of housing price, and the difficulty obtaining credit. Okay. Zero or negative inflation can lead to a depressed economy. When the real value of money increase, people tend to hold onto their money and restrict their spending. Inflation can have negative effect on housing price. It will do with the interest rate and the borrowing and on the borrowed money. Next, we go on to the lending interest rate. For the house price, when the house price increase, there will be lower interest rate, increase in bank lending to reduce reserve ratio, and then it's going to increase the demand for home, help consumer and firm to acquire loan at lower cost. The house will be more affordable to buy, and then it will increase the consumer spending. If the house price decrease, the interest rate will be higher. Is cost from the interest rate, and then it will fall in bank lending, and consumer taking opportunity to pay the mortgage. Okay. Bank may lose money as the value of the asset decline. Okay, from the graph, we can see from it was the Malaysian lending interest rate from 2006 till 2016. Okay, in the year 2009, the house price index starting to increase and caused the bank lending rate decline. It was because the international financial crisis, as I said before. The central bank aggressively easing monetary policy through interest rate through interest rate cut to their lowest level of record. Means they cut the interest rate until its lower level as it can. This extraordinary policy response has helped to stabilize the financial market as well as support the true economy. By reducing in lending interest rate on housing loan may help consumer and firm to acquire loans at the lower cost. So that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, hi. My name is Nur Afika Shahira binti Abdul Halim, and my matric number is 185853. Okay, I will proceed to share about impact of house price on gross domestic product or GDP. Okay, as you can see, Malaysia GDP annual growth rate from 2006 to 2016, we show that negative GDP in 2009. Next, impact of GDP from the house price. It can be divided into increase in house price or decline in house price. Alright, decline in housing price. It may cause lower consumer spending, which is consumer more saving than spending, and lower sales for community business. Besides that, decrease income for workers in community, and also amount of money available for home mortgage payment might decline. It also may decline in GDP, where export become lower and export and production activity become lower, and labor costs and firms had to freezing new hires to reduce labor costs, and salary cutting for labor, and also reducing overtime work. For increasing in housing price, it vice versa from the declining housing price, which is may increase in GDP. Okay, next. For impact of house price for wealth, you can see Malaysia consumer spending increase following by the year from the 2006 to 2016, and for the impact on wealth is first, more spending increase on house price may causing more spending and reduce saving, and also homeowner take out bigger mortgage from the bank. Besides that, higher aggregate demand can cause multiplier. There also will be a multiplier effect, which cause the increase in aggregate demand to bigger than the initial effect. In addition, increasing house price may also increase in real GDP and economic growth rate. For decreasing house price, it may reduce consumer spending, and also consumer trying to pay off mortgage early, and it may the declining in house price may cause negative impact on construction of new house, because they might pay more for other material, and for renter, it may reduce the rent of the house. Right. Next, others impact is on simple model of housing demand and supply. Okay, next, impact on demand. You can show that housing demand can be determined by the housing price and also demographic variable. Price of house may decrease as the quantity demand is increased. When the price of house decrease, people trying to buy a new house or or add or adding more house. Beside that, more people effort to buy a house, and some of them might decide to buy additional house. And construction firm has to pay more for production costs to fulfill the demand consumer. So price of house will increase again as initial. Okay, next, supply. Okay, as you can see, is about the market supplies of housing. Housing supply can be determined. Housing supply can be determined by housing price and input price. Input price such as cost of labor, interest rate, and GDP. Alright, price of house increase, then may cause number of house supply to the market also increase. Construction firm supply new home that demand by families who wishing to live in that area. House seller also bought new home with the hope that the house could be resold at higher price in the future. They buy as a house owner will buy the house at the lower price and sell it at the higher price for the renter. Alright, that's all from me. I will pass it to next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. My name is Nur Fatia Atira binti Rosli and my matric number is 185911. Okay, so before this we talk about the factors and the impact of the housing price. So now there are 4 suggestions that we can suggest in the housing market. So first is produce more house in housing price. So we know the price of land is increased rapidly. Okay, so when we produce house not fast enough to counter the demand, the increase in demand, so the price of the house will increase, but the units of house not increase to produce. So the government needs to solve this problem by the increase the producing in unit of house to capture the increase in demand. So in 2013, only 100 million the producing of units of house, but the demand is 40 million. So next, the suggestion is allow the council to work together to plan development. Okay, we know that every country have the different price of housing, because a view of the country of development country and village country, urban country. So we need to try to solve this by allow the council to work together to plan the development in the producing the house in the house market. Okay, next, third is hasten approval time, decrease rate tab, and utility cost. Okay, the one of the reason the house price increase due to the delay in the house approval time. also approval to plan the housing, right? So from the radar also try to work together with the telecom, with the others to solve this problem, to uh, make the utility like a water, electric approval as fast as possible. So because when the cost approval is delayed, so the cost of the housing will increase, and it will affect the buyers. So the buyers need to buy by the higher price of the house. So lastly is the subsidies and new home zones. So government should try to give allocate the subsidy in the house market, and create more new home zones that's like that's the cheaper price for the people that have the low income, right? We also have before this, but we need to produce more to help them to get the house. Okay, so that's all. So next, the conclusion. So we in this study we can see the relationship between the housing market and the macroeconomic variable. We discussed about the inflation, interest rate, GDP, and wealth. So, impact and factors of the housing price is related with the macroeconomic variable. So, that's all from us. Thank you.